There are moments in time where the future looks empty, stripped of hope, heroes, and even humanity. And Torchwood makes us confront that very idea in the aptly named Children of Earth. A story where there's no cheering for good, there isn't a victor over evil. This is the darkest story from the Doctor Who universe. A cold reminder that when morality buckles and collapses, the real monsters won't come from the sky. Before we dive in, it's worth understanding the context of the show. Torchwood is a 2009 spin-off of Doctor Who, and is a darker show than the one it spawned from. The main cast are a team named Torchwood, where they face alien threats in the shadows. At the heart of the team are three figures. First off, there's Captain Jack Harkness, who's a time-travelling time agent who literally can't die, as in he's immortal. Brash and cocky, he's the sort of leader who carries decisions on his shoulders for centuries. Then there's Gwen, a former police officer now turned alien investigator. The soul of the group, she questions whether saving the world is worth losing your humanity. And finally, there's Ianto Jones, the quiet yet true heart of the group, who handles logistics and never backs down from a problem. He's in a relationship with Jack, and they both care for each other, even when everything starts to go wrong. So from here on out, I'll be discussing the plot. So if you still haven't watched it, I highly recommend you to go watch. And once you have, make sure to come right on back here. We open in Scotland, 1965, where 12 children are taken from a Scottish care home, led into a bright, ominous fog, and vanish off into the night, except one boy who escapes. Back in the present day, Jack, Ianto, and Gwen are all changed. Only recently had there been more members of their team, but now it's just them. Jack goes out to visit his daughter Alice and grandson Stephen, and they're distant from each other, but they try to stay connected as much as possible. We then suddenly cut to a little in the future, where every child on Earth is suddenly frozen at the exact same moment, and then begun chanting in cult-like unison, saying, "We are coming." It's brief, but it shocks the whole world into silence. Politicians, teachers, and parents are all terrified. Hours later, it happens again, but louder. Panic and paranoia begin to spread quickly. Meanwhile, Torchwood is investigating a local case of a man with no identity, Clement MacDonald, who is plagued by paranoia and a psychic sensitivity tied to the children's chanting. Unknown to them, he's the exact same boy who escaped in 1965. Yet behind the scenes, the government is planning. Civil servant John Frobisher is brought onto a covert governmental operation. He's briefed about what's really going on. Something is coming, and the government is already planning how to contain the fallout. Torchwood is involved in those plans, but not for the normal reasons. They're seen as a liability due to past involvement in aliens, and is thus marked for elimination. An assassination plan is soon put into motion. Jack is implanted with a bomb, and as a result, Gwen and Ianto are all targeted. At the episode's climax, Jack explodes, and Torchwood HQ is obliterated. It turns out the bomb didn't kill Jack. Big surprise there. His immortality saves him again. He's retrieved by the government and kept in a sealed shut containment cell while he slowly reconstitutes from the blast. Meanwhile, Gwen and Ianto also survive and try to evade capture, going underground to find allies. They soon discover that Lois Habiba, Frobisher's secretary, is secretly sympathetic to their cause. From behind the scenes, she begins feeding them classified information. Yet from her visit with Clem MacDonald, Gwen confirms he shares a psychic connection with the ever-approaching aliens in the sky. He is linked. In a dramatic ambush, Jack is rescued. Reunited, the team regroups in a secret government safe house Gwen quickly commandeers for their own purposes. Torchwood is back together, but the aliens are closer than ever. That night, a pillar of fire descends from the sky into Thames House. The government dubs them the 456, and they've arrived. The government nearly immediately constructs a secure chamber for the 456, airtight and filled with toxic gas. No one can see the creature clearly through it, but there is something there. Communications begin through a grotesque, strange translator, a child's voice, speaking from within the fog, echoing with menace and disgust. The 456's demand is made clear, brutally and sharply. They want 10% of all the world's children. Everyone falls silent, especially as there's no explanation, only a cold ultimatum thrown right in the government's face. Frobisher is shocked, but ready to listen. Inside Torchwood's hideout, Jack confesses the truth. In 1965, the 456 demanded 12 children in exchange for sparing humanity from a deadly virus. He was the one to deliver them, believing that it was the only chance for humanity. Clem was one of those children. Now, Clement hears them again, and this time, louder than before. He hears them in his head, and they keep saying, "We are here." The 456 are not here to negotiate, they're here to control. The public is fed misinformation about what's happening, but behind closed doors, panic is erupting. The 456 will beat their demand, 10% of children, or the utter annihilation of human life as we know it. A secret meeting is held. The Prime Minister and advisors debate how they can comply without losing power. The result is monstrous. They'll hand over all the children, but select them based on social class and contribution to society. The poor, the unwanted, the expendable, all are set for abduction. John Frobisher, despite loyally serving the government, is told his daughters will be taken to set an example for the nation. He falls silent and returns home, telling his wife and kids absolutely nothing. Torchwood scrambles to find a solution, but is quickly out of time and out of leverage. Military units across the country begin seizing children from low-performing schools and less desirable neighbourhoods. Gwen and her husband Reese protect as many as they can, but it's chaos. Buses are filling up, and no one is answering for anything. Meanwhile, Jack and Ianto break into the government building, trying to find a way to negotiate with aliens, but the 456 retaliate violently, releasing toxic gas into the building. Jack is obviously immune due to his immortality, but Ianto isn't. He dies in Jack's arms, pleading. The deadline has arrived. This is the final day. The 456 transmit for the final time, giving their last threat to annihilate humanity. The world wakes up to horror. Across Britain, armed forces are rounding up children. Parents scream and beg. Gwen and Reese, now powerless to stop it, do anything they can. Their early efforts to hide children failed. It seems hopeless. Now, all they can do is bear witness to the unfolding destruction. Back in London, in desperation, government officials finally ask the 456 why they want the children. The answer is more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. The children aren't food or even hosts, they're drugs. In their own words,
they create chemicals. The chemicals are good.
The 456 absorb chemicals from the children, and they're addicted. They are addicts, and Earth is their supplier. John Frobisher decides, in total cold silence, that if this is the future his children will be brought into, it would be better if they weren't there for it anyway. In total quiet, he silently ends the life of his children, wife, and himself off screen, with just the sound of the gunshots signalling what's taken place. In a huge breakthrough, Torchwood discovers that the 456 use children as psychic relays to communicate, and that's their weak point. Jack realises they can reverse the signal to burn the aliens out, but it needs a transmitter, someone connected. It needs a child. Yet the only one available is Stephen. Jack says nothing. There's no time for arguments, no alternatives, no heroes, only choices. He watches as his grandson dies screaming as the reverse signal rips through the 456 and destroys them completely. The Earth is saved, but Jack has now become the very thing he feared more than all. 6 months later, Torchwood comes back together. Gwen arrives, meeting Jack on a rural hill, where they share one last goodbye. Jack is horrified himself, and Gwen is also forever changed. As Jack disappears, Gwen waits in silence, looking over the new world. The Children of Earth really does strike you as different. Gone are the jokes from the last series, now replaced by gritty destruction and terrifying concepts. But what truly makes the series so disturbing? Let's dive right in. As one of the darkest stories ever told in the Doctor Who universe, this series really needed to define itself through its pivotal moments. And for me, that can't be seen in any place better than with the cabinet meeting room. By day 4, the leaders and ministers come together to discuss the 456 threat. Yet, they don't talk about it in a disgusted tone. They turn practical. 10% of children is a lot, but to them, worth it to sacrifice. It's disturbing to hear the cabinet discuss ways of delivering innocents into the hands of malicious aliens. Someone suggests a lottery, but that's soon replaced by an even more disturbing and daunting idea: taking children from lower class backgrounds. Obviously, none of them say the word expendable, but you can feel that that's what they want to say. The moment is disturbing because of how quietly evil it is. There's no villainous monologue, no destructive weapon. It's just a group of educated people silently deciding who lives or dies. It's shown as starkly grounded, a betrayal of what we have as humans and what we're meant to stand for. It isn't science fiction, it's just policy making. While the true villains of the Children of Earth is commonly debated, the 456 put up a good fight at being the darkest aliens in Torchwood. As soon as they descend from the sky, something about them feels off. They feel different to the other aliens in the show, with their clouded appearances and glass cages. They're a mystery, and that's taken even further when they demand the children. Immediately, we want to know why. Maybe the children are fuel or hosts. Maybe the aliens need them to survive. For 4 whole episodes we wait for an answer, any reason as to why the 456 need the children. So when they simply say that it makes them feel good, it feels even more terrifyingly evil. This isn't an alien threat, this is an alien addiction, and Earth is supplying them. They threaten the deaths of billions just to feel good. It's utterly and truly horrifying. But the reactions to the 456 also add a disturbing element to the story as a whole. I've already talked about the politicians, but characters like John Frobisher silently and calmly ending the life of him and his family is such an incredibly dark idea that feels both grounded, but so foreign in the world of Doctor Who. It feels like it could happen, but that shouldn't. Yet it's not just how he reacts to the 456 that feels foreign. Captain Jack's is also one of the most prominent, but deeply disturbing reactions within the Children of Earth. Just like Frobisher, he ends the life of someone dear to him, but this is because of a sacrifice. In the world of Doctor Who, the Doctor is always able to figure out the best solution in the end, the solution that helps everyone survive. That's not the case here. Here, the worst is the only option Jack has, ending the life of his grandson just to save everyone else. It's the idea that when it comes to it, the best solution isn't always achievable. Jack's moral ambiguity has always been a bit grey, but here it's pushed to its limits, and finally it breaks right in half. He's not condemned, but he isn't glorified either. There's no redemption arc, no heroic speech. There's an emotional void, one where a hero should be, but isn't. That's what makes the Children of Earth so haunting. It doesn't ask if he was or isn't a hero. It asks if Jack was even one to begin with. So that was the Children of Earth. I personally thought it was such a different but welcome route for the Doctor Who universe to take. One both dark, but also deeper than the usual Monster of the Week episodic format of Torchwood before. But what did you think? Comment down below about whether you liked it or not, and any suggestions for future videos, and I'll try my best to respond. In the end, this story forces us to take a deep, dark look into the mirror. It asks us what we would do if we took their spaces. Would we save those who can't save themselves? Or would we willingly give in, compliant in the evil? Making sure we knew we were never the heroes. Making sure we knew that we wouldn't do anything to help the Children of Earth.